or Hawaii, or your own neck of the woods. And in this week's What's in the Bag, should you push or pull? That's the question. Have a great night.
Golf with style. New host Stephanie Sparks takes us on a luxurious golf vacation to the cradle of American golf, Pinehurst. Visit lavish hotels and spas in North Carolina.
Coming up on the Natural Golf Makeover Challenge.
The pressure is getting to our fivesome during the final weeks, and the fashion guru has Wild Bill dressing like a real golfer instead of one of Hell's Angels on the next Natural Golf Makeover Challenge.
Working 9 to 5. Yeah, according to Dolly Parton, it's a way to make a living, but it doesn't do anything for your golf game. Are you one of these weekend duffers who simply cannot find the time to practice and will latch on to any quick fix in hopes of lowering your handicap? If so, then pull up a chair. You'll benefit from this edition of Academy Live because PGA professional Theron Harvey is here to help you. We're here to make your weekends more enjoyable, and it all begins right now.
The Golf Channel and the PGA of America present Academy Live.
Hello everybody and welcome to Academy Live. I am Kelly Tillman and I would like to introduce you to a devoted member of the PGA of America. His name is Theron Harvey and he is a PGA professional out of the Ace Club in Lafayette Hill, Pennsylvania. You know it. Gary Player is the designer. Theron, it's good to have you on the show.
Thank you very much.
It's good
Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, tell me about your golf background, how much you've played, how much you've taught.
Well, I'll tell you, I've been at 3 very unique clubs over the last 8 years and have had a lot of opportunities to play a lot of good golf with a lot of good members and do a lot of teaching along the way.
One of those clubs is Pine Valley.
Yes.
Tell us about your experience at Pine Valley.
Boy, I'll tell you, coming from Monroe Golf Club in Pittsford, New York, working for Jim Merva, was a great experience, and then to be able to go to Pine Valley and work for Charlie Rowdenbush was also a great experience. Great 2 years, met a lot of really nice people, and obviously was very fortunate to play a great golf course.
It's not too shabby, is
No,
it?
it
You've
is
got
not.
a young face, but you are rich in the knowledge department when it comes to the golf swing, and that is why he is here. And we're going to bring up our UPS Swing Talk. The focus tonight is something called Practice Plan. We're finding the right routine for the weekend golfer, and that really addresses a large chunk of our audience because they're having their regular 9 to 5ers Monday through Friday. They get out there on the weekend, they've made their morning game, and they get there and they, okay, I'm finally going to get better this weekend. But what do they have to do to actually be able to accomplish that?
Well, there's quite a few things they can do during the week. Number one is some practice putting at home. Plain and simple, use some area in your apartment, your home, wherever, flat surface, carpet to putt over a quarter or into a cup, just to get a feel. One thing I like to see a lot of people do is really work on their setup at home. Getting those eyes over the golf ball. We have the club face, the ball, and the target in line. Parallel left to that are feet, hips, and shoulders. And it's really important to get those eyes over the ball. And one thing at home, working on setup, it's extremely important. If your eyes are not over that line, you're going to have more of a screen door like stroke, okay? Not a rocking back and forth motion. If the eyes are over the target line, you can see down the line and you can let those shoulders rock nicely back and through. On the other side, if your eyes get outside the line, you're going to have more of a loopy type putting stroke, okay? Cutting the ball, hitting a lot of cut putts. So first of all, if you're going to practice at home, putting over that quarter or into a cup, I really want you to focus on getting those eyes over the ball. As far as stance, grip, there's a million grips out there, the claw, cross-handed, which I prefer, or traditional. The most important thing is to get those eyes over the line so you can see down that line.
Okay, and is there a way to know whether you're leaning too far over or maybe standing too tall? Is the fact that where your eyes fall, is that the determining factor?
It really is. With a lot of my students, when I work with them on putting, one of the first things that I will check on is to see if their eyes are over the ball, as I'll have them take their setup and I will drop a ball from between their eyes to see if it actually does drop on that ball. Now when you're at home, putting into that cup or putting over a quarter, that's a great little tool to check and see if you are set up properly.
What are some other things that you can do while you're at home to get yourself ready during the work week? Maybe standing in front of a mirror, or do you have some other tips?
You know, I do. You know, everybody, the weekend golfer, you know, obviously likes to keep track of some of their favorite players, maybe even gets a chance to watch some golf on the weekends. I like the idea of the weekend golfer maybe getting some pictures, some sequence photos from a magazine or something, and maybe trying to emulate some of those things in a mirror, you know, trying to copy those setup positions, maybe different things that they like what that touring pro does. And basically the idea is to get you thinking golf during the week and get a club in your hand and do what you can do during the week when you obviously can't get to a course or the range.
That's pretty cool. That falls under the realm of visualization,
Exactly.
I would imagine. Now,
Exactly.
we've talked about actually, you know, kinesthetic activities like standing over the ball and finding your eyes over the ball in the putting department. You've talked about some visualization. Now, actually getting the body ready for the weekend. A lot of golfers show up at the first tee and they're tight. They haven't done a darn thing to get ready. You're here to tell us there's some stretching things you can do during the week to actually kind of get a leg up on the competition.
Yes, I'm a big fan of stretching. I've been known to come out of the golf shop at Pine Valley and stretch on the first tee before we go out for a round, and it's tough. You do get ripped on a little bit, but it's very important, I believe. One of the things, you know, I would like to demonstrate is, you know, we really want to focus on warming up the neck and the shoulders and the rotator cuffs. Some neck isolation drills that you can do. Just simply take the right hand, put it against the right side of the head, and just gently press against the right hand. Now this shouldn't be painful. You shouldn't be moving fast here, just really slow. You do that on each side and front and back. And you hold those for 20 to 30 seconds apiece.
You have something for the lower body, maybe the hamstrings, the lower back?
I do. When the lower back, you always hear of golfers who have injuries to their lower back, and I truly believe that if your hamstrings are loose, so will your lower back. One drill you can start with is spread the feet a little farther than shoulder length apart. We're going to go down and touch the outside of our left foot, hold for 20-30 seconds.
You make it look easy.
And come back up. Yeah, it's surprising with the nice boiler
whatever,
I have here.
Whatever.
And then do the same thing on the right side. Hold for 20-30 seconds and then back up. Now it's really important not to bounce while you're doing this at all, and it's important to hold. Don't go beyond your pain threshold. You know, one last thing to kind of round it out would be feet together and try and put the palms on the ground.
You're a very flexible man. It's pretty good stuff.
Been working at it a long time.
Now, you just did this in front of millions of people.
Yeah, you do actually look kind of silly, especially when you work on stretching rotator cuffs.
The guys at Pine
and
Valley
your
having a good
arms
laugh
are
right
out
now.
here like this. You look like you're trying to fly away.
But if you can do it in front of millions of people, then the viewer at home can do it.
In the privacy of their own home, or at least find a couple minutes in the locker room before you tee off.
That's right. All right, Theron, you have plenty of good things to say, and we're looking forward to tapping into your mind over the next hour on Academy Live. It's a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you very much.
Also, coming your way in this hour, we want to let you know, Gary Player, the designer of the Ace Club, will check in with tips to help you, the weekend golfer, get ready for that big match on Saturday or Sunday. Theron helps you with cures for the common faults. Those of you who slice and hook, hit it thin or hit it heavy, he's got some quick fixes for you, and he gives a viewer a live lesson right here on the set. So stick around, everybody. It's going to be a good hour.
Academy Live, brought to you by the completely reinvented vehicles from the new Subaru, driven by what's inside. The revolutionary ERC Fusion driver from Callaway Golf. Where there's fusion, there's power. Gateway, a better way. Ram, authentic golf equipment.
We have X-ray vision. We can see the little boy inside the man, the surfer inside the school teacher. And we've used this gift to build a special machine. An all-wheel drive vehicle that blends agility with ability, muscle with grace. The completely redesigned Subaru Outback. The one vehicle for the both of you.
Works for us.
Right now, lease the all-new Subaru Outback for just $289 a month. See your Subaru dealer for details.
Introducing the ERC Fusion driver from Callaway Golf. Part forged titanium, part carbon composite. Where there's fusion, there's power.
Learn how to hit the ball further and more accurate with Cobra Long Drive champions as they take us center stage on the next Playing Lessons from the Pros.
Coming up on the Natural Golf Makeover Challenge.
The pressure is getting to our fivesome during the final weeks, and the fashion guru has Wild Bill dressing like a real golfer instead of one of Hell's Angels on the next Natural Golf Makeover Challenge.
You want three things. Wider stance than normal, because that stops you swaying, okay? That's number one. Number two, set the wrist early. Set the wrist early. And three, acceleration, okay? Here we go. See how nicely accelerated on that? The thing is if you start standing narrow and you start having a lot of movement, you hit further behind the ball. You hit, in other words, you hit it fat, or you hit too close to it because you've got too much movement. You got it, you see the whole idea of a bunker shot is to keep the torque, keep tight. Now, if you want to stop the ball, watch this now. Even though I'm going on a slight downslope, set up, the way you read sand is very important. There's more to read in a bunker than there is on any green. The ball lies low, you've been raked at a bad job, you're lying on a downslope, an upslope. I mean, the ball from here to there, if that's there, it's completely different to here. And if it's there, it's completely different to here. All the lies. Now, this one, you want it to stop a little quicker, so you set up sort of underneath the ball and sort of behind it. Watch this.
Gary Player, he has probably hit out of a bunker in every country that exists on this planet. He gets around and he does it very nicely.
He sure
if
does.
you'd like to take advantage of more of our priceless video vault tips, just log on to thegolfchannel.com. They're right there, just at the reach of your fingertip. We're back with Theron Harvey, and we talked in the previous segment about things the 9-to-5er can do to get ready for weekend golf at home, like stretching, putting at home, and even maybe some mirror drills to visualize the golf swing and what could work for you. Now it's time. We're at the course. We've arrived. We've gotten the clubs out of the car. What do we do from here?
Well, speaking of arriving, when you do arrive to the golf course, try and make it at least a half hour to 45 minutes before your tee-off time. That way you can get checked in, go hide in the corner in the locker room, get stretched, and give yourself plenty of opportunity to get to the practice putting green.
Okay, and once you get to the putting green, you hear a lot of stories about what you should focus on. Should you focus on making a lot of short putts? Should you do a lot of lag putting to get the feel for the speed of the greens? What's your advice?
My advice to our weekend golfing friends out there is to start in close to the hole. Start in at 3 feet or closer. Now again, we've been working all week on getting our eyes over the ball and being able to see that line. So we want to get in nice and close and practice our stroke. Okay, now the big key there is that we're going to get set up properly. And number 2, hopefully I'll make this one.
Okay, and we're going to take a break. And when we come back, Kelly Tillman's going to give Theron Harvey a lesson on how to make 2-foot putt. No, I'm kidding.
There's a little break in this carpet
Well, yeah,
or something.
there's a lot of break in this carpet. Trust me. Everybody struggles with this. There it is. We had the boss of the Moss, Lauren Roberts, on, one of the best putters in the game. Couldn't make one for like 6 or 7 strokes. You're not alone, I promise.
Well, the point of this drill is, starting in close to the hole, is to build your confidence in making some putts. So maybe I should have moved a little bit closer to build more of my confidence.
No, you're fine. We get
Now,
the point.
now moving back, once you see some repetition of the ball going in the hole, you want to move back to maybe 10, 15, 20 feet. And from here, we're not concentrating on making these. What we're doing is trying to produce a rhythm and feel in our stroke for distance. So again, we're going to get into our proper setup, eyes over that target line, and we're going to work on just rolling that ball to the hole, okay, getting that ball to the hole.
Here, I got a couple more for you.
Great.
Yep, go for it. It takes a little while to get used to these greens, but right here, we're really concentrating more on speed of our putts and feel of the greens. Okay.
So what I'd like you to do is, once you get into this setup, don't get ball locked. Don't be focusing, with your eyes so much on the ball. Kind of react to your target here. Focus on your target, which is the cup, maybe for 3 seconds longer than you do the ball, and just hit it and go.
Question for you. Everybody's going to miss putts when they're warming up. They'll make a few, but they're going to miss them too. What can you learn from a missed putt? You could still be doing a lot of things right. Do you look at how far the ball finishes beyond the hole? What are the good things to look for when you're missing your practice putts?
For the weekend golfer, I would say to forget about that, that missed putt, and move on with the feeling that you are going to make the next one. Almost ignore it, maybe even put it out of your mind, and get back to focusing again on, your proper setup, eyes down the target line, and let's react to the target. Again, eyes on the target for 3 seconds, ball 1 second, and go.
Yeah, you're starting to get a feel for it now. Little right to left break. You finally
I
figured
got
it
it.
out. I'm going to pull you away since you're having such good luck here. Now, how much time do you recommend that we spend on the putting green versus the practice tee?
I would go through some drills like that 3-foot putt there. I'd take 4 or 5 balls, put them in a circle, and get a really good feel for making some of those. Maybe do that for 10 minutes, and then maybe move back to the lag putting 10, 15, 20 feet, and get a good feel for the for the distance. Not making the putt, but a good feel for the distance, and then I would move on over to the range.
Okay, so far when we arrived at the course, we've taken a good 20 to 25 minutes to stretch. We've added about 20 minutes in time on the putting green. We're at about the 45-minute mark now, and we're headed to the practice tee. So what comes next on the practice tee?
On the practice tee, once you get up there...
I notice you don't have a driver in your hands, by the way, which is
I
usually
do
the
not.
club that people go to.
I do not. That's a good thing to mention. A lot of people are really addicted to distance. The game is really played from 100 yards in for the weekend player. Okay, they're going to hit some fairways, they're going to miss some, but the key to them scoring better is going to be their wedge game.
Okay.
So some tips that I have for the weekend golfer when they get up to the tee is to get into a good setup, and we'll talk just briefly about some posture. Number one, you can put a club down your back for spine angle. If you can rock that club back and forth, that means you're really rolled up here in the shoulders. We want a nice straight back, just a slight flex in the knee, okay? And with a wedge, we're going to place that ball off the buttons on our shirt, okay? So I'm going to be in a setup like this, really focusing on my posture, nice straight back, buttons off the shirt. From there, when I start to swing, again, I want to focus on target. Maybe at first, focus on more of a 930 backswing to a full finish. This way, we're moving at about half speed, using about 70% of our power. Okay, we're not, like you said, trying to rip the driver for distance. We're working on some rhythm, some timing, kind of carrying over from what we worked on the putting green.
And some fundamentals.
And some fundamentals.
Okay, and how many of those are you going to hit when you feel like you've accomplished something?
I would go through and make some swings From 9:30 to a full finish, I would hit a half a dozen to a dozen balls doing that with, say, a sand wedge, and then maybe do the same thing with a pitching wedge, and really feel like you're dialing in those short irons.
When I go to the range there and it's time for my weekend game, and I don't have a lot of them these days, but when I do, I have a system that I've had since I was a kid. I'm not saying it's right or it's wrong, but I typically take like a wedge, like you said, or a sand wedge. Maybe I take a 9-iron, a 7-iron, a 5-iron, and I take a wood. And what I'm trying to do is just steal one club from each section of the bag to make sure that I have a feel for each distance that I'm going to be playing before I play a round of golf. Go ahead and tell me I'm doing the wrong thing if I am. Does that serve any purpose whatsoever?
That definitely does serve a purpose. And especially for the weekend golfer, they don't just want to sit up on the range and hit their wedges, but I think they should hit those and work on that short game 3 times as much as they would the long game. But that definitely is a good practice plan. You do want to have a feel for every club in your bag.
So which clubs would you recommend? You've already said let's start with a sand wedge or a pitching wedge and work from 9:30 to the finish position. From that point on, to round out the practice routine on the tee, which clubs would you recommend would work for the viewer?
I would go from there to a 7-iron.
Okay.
Okay, and really feel like you're going to make that same type of swing. A lot of our friends out there, the weekend golfers, will tend to get a very long backswing looking for some extra power, and a lot of mistakes can happen from there. So I would still focus on that really good setup, that 9:30 backswing to a full finish.
Good looking swing there too. Do you
Thank
work
you.
all the way up to the driver?
And I would go ahead and work all the way up to the driver.
Okay,
Yeah.
and how
I'd
much time have we
go from
spent?
7-iron to 5-iron, and maybe to one of your utility long irons.
I finally did something right.
Fairway woods.
That's great. That's my
Yeah.
practice routine. I
There
can't
you
believe
go.
I just thought it was just something I did, but it turns out it's actually a productive thing. What a shocker. So how much time
Interesting.
have we spent on the driving range in total, on the practice tee?
In total, from the time you got to the course, stretching, driving range, you might have spent 30, 40 minutes.
Okay, so what, we were 45 minutes up to that point. We've added another half hour. So somewhere in the hour and 15-minute range, you want to slate yourself from the time you pull up in the parking lot to the time you tee off, and heaven forbid you have a 7 a.m. tee time. You're up early.
Well, the big key is if you're rushing to the golf course and rushing to the tee, chances are you're going to be rushing your golf swing all day long.
All right, well, there is more to come with Theron Harvey for you weekend warriors. Right now, we're headed off to a break. Here's another tip from World Golf Hall of Fame member Gary Player.
This shot here really gives the average golfer the creeps. Yeah. You're right, and I see this in Pro-Ams, and they 90% of the time leave it short. Again, they're always taking the sandwich, and they're trying to play the same shots as the top pros. And what they should do, if they haven't got, like here, you've got no bunker in front of you, take a 7-iron and run it up the bank. If you do decide to take a sandwich, the one thing you've got to have in mind is acceleration. Now I'm going to play this shot here, and I'm standing here. Again, I stand, because it's only a short shot, with my weight on my left side, and I'm going to think acceleration. Look how I got through that ball. Go in the hole, baby. You see how I got through that? Shoop! Shoop! I'm going to give you a great saying. This is one of the greatest tips you folks will ever get. When you got a matchbox and you had to light that match, if you went slowly like that, you'd never light the match. Light the match. Chip. Same with the sandwich, with that short chip. Light the match. Chip.
Hi, I'm Peter Jacobson. As spokesman for Golf Greens for You, I cannot begin to tell you how important the short game is to lowering your scores. Now, you don't have to be a professional tour player to enjoy the luxury of having your very own putting green. Golf Greens for You can tailor the shape, slope, and even the speed of your own green without all the maintenance. Call Golf Greens for You today to get your professionally installed putting green that will make you feel like a pro.
Hi, I'm Peter Jacobson. Did you know that 80% of your lifetime sun exposure is reached before the age of 18? And that 50% of all new cancers are skin cancers? Schedule an appointment with your dermatologist today.
Tell me you have this. You're my last hope.
Sure thing, Chief. I'll check in the back. The Golf Warehouse at TGW.com always has the latest, greatest of golf's top brands, and we can ship most anything, even hard-to-find items, the same day you order them.
I can have it here for you tomorrow.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Shop where everyone shops. The Golf Warehouse at TGW.com.
Ever wonder why so many tour pros have a line around their golf ball? Well, when a ball's center of gravity is off, it can cause any putt to miss. But now, just like the pros, you can make the lopsided weight of every ball work in your favor. Now you've learned the secret of the pros. Introducing the Check Go by Technosonic. Check Go's high-speed gyroscopic action realigns the ball's variance to show you its optimal balance point. You simply mark it and bingo. Check Go just found the sweet spot for you. Now just line up that putt and you'll see a more accurate roll to the cup every time. It's just the same off the tee. Just line it up and let her rip. And don't be surprised when you start hitting straighter and longer.
Everyone I've shown it to has said, man, I've got to have one of those as soon as possible. And 2 of those were Ryder Cup members.
Order your Check Go right now for just one low payment of $27.95. Have your credit card ready and call 1-800-636-8855. That's 1-800-636-8855 right now.
Be a consistently good driver. The setup is very important, and I don't think enough attention is paid to setup. I look at something, I always like to look at something in the distance. And I look at that and I focus on that mark. I focus on that mark because I like to begin with the end in mind. You know, too many people are worrying about, they get paralysis of analysis, you know. So I pick out my spot there, and I line up on my spot in the distance, and I make up, first of all, what kind of shot I want to hit. I'm looking at the back of the ball, okay? Now, what I'm trying to say now is just make sure I finish with a long follow-through and finish properly with balance. And you can see I'm standing exactly where I hit the ball from.
One of the rare occasions when Gary Player didn't give it the old walk-through. You love the old walk-through.
The hit and walk.
The hit and walk. For many of us, that's basically what it's all about on the weekends. We've been working, cooped up in the office, the cubicle, the desk, whatever it is. And when we get there to the weekend, we hit the ball, we chase it wherever it goes. We don't really have a plan. Maybe we have a hook, maybe we have a slice, maybe we tend to hit it thin or we tend to hit it heavy. Is there one thing you could give each one of these types of golfers to help them maybe straighten out that shot just a bit more, maybe catch it a little bit more solid?
You bet. Someone who hooks the ball is going to tend to have more of a closed face grip, okay? If I'm holding the club out straight in front of me, those V's in the left and the right hand are going to be pointing way outside the right shoulder, okay? Consequently, that's going to cause me to take the club way inside. Another problem is a closed stance. That's going to just help induce that snap hook.
They think because they're hitting it left, they need to aim further right.
Further right, and it's just going to get worse and worse and worse.
Essentially, they're accentuating the problem, okay.
Exactly. And the last thing, probably the most common thing you see, is a lot of golfers who hook the ball will finish with their weight on the back foot.
Okay.
They stay real flat-footed.
So what's a drill to help people?
One drill, first of all, I'd like to have them really concentrate on neutralizing that grip a little bit. Get the V's pointed more towards the right shoulder. Second of all, align themselves parallel left to the target. So our shoulders, our hips, and our feet are parallel left, maybe even just slightly open to start with.
So parallel left, meaning if the golf ball is on a line to the target, the club face.
We have our club face,
our
ball,
body
and target.
will be on a railroad track parallel left to that.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And lastly, basically what you'd want to get that person to do is finish over their left side. Feel like they're turning or moving left through their swing. So when they finish, they should be able to tap that toe on the ground and have all their weight over their left foot. You know, another little image might be if they had a balloon between their knees when they swing through, to pop that balloon and be able to tap the toe.
Very good. Okay, now for those who slice the ball, which is a large group of golfers, it's basically the majority. Is it just reversal of all that, or are there some special things that they do?
There is definitely some special things that they do.
Okay, special. We like to say special.
Yes. The first thing is that those V's you're going to see in both hands, okay, are going to point more towards the left shoulder, okay? Very weak grip is what we call it. And in the takeaway, that club face and the club itself is really going to fan open to this position. Okay, so you can see, you know, from here, what I did is I rotated my forearms and hands and fanned that club open. Consequently, when I come through, I'm going to have more of a chicken wing type finish. You can see that left elbow sticking out there. Some of the things we want to do to correct that is, again, strengthen that grip. Get those V's in the left and right hand pointed more towards the right shoulder. Okay? And again, we want to set up parallel left.